So, I'm going to list all of the 78 countries that they measured over 51 years. So,
I'm gonna
here
sit
goes.
back and drink some tea.
So, Bangladesh, Argentina, Albania, Bolivia, Austria, Armenia, Brazil, Canada, Australia, Burkina Faso, Chile, Azerbaijan, Cameroon, France, Belarus, Colombia, Hungary, Belgium, Costa Rica, India, Bulgaria, Dominican Republic, Ireland, China, Ecuador, Mexico, Croatia, Fiji, Morocco, Czech Republic, Greece, Portugal, Denmark, Haiti, Romania, Estonia, Indonesia, Spain, Finland, Israel, Switzerland, Georgia, Kenya, United States, Germany, Malawi, Uruguay, Iceland, Malaysia, Italy, Mali, Japan, Nicaragua, Latvia, Panama, Lithuania, Puerto Rico, Macedonia, Thailand, Malta, Venezuela, Moldova, Vietnam, Netherlands, Zambia, New Zealand, Nigeria, Norway, Peru, Poland, Russian Federation, Slovenia, South Africa, South Korea, Sweden, Turkey, Ukraine, and the best till last, United Kingdom.
Good job.
If you want to tell people how to live, then I suppose that's going to be your thing, but it's perhaps not for me, although I'm sure if I were a parent, I would probably be far more inclined to say you need to do this and that. I don't want you turning out like a social justice warrior. I'd avoid that at all costs. All ethics would go out the window.
They'd be an independent social justice warrior.
Oh, it's no consolation, really, is it?
I've personally become interested in going back and watching like media that I couldn't appreciate when I was younger.
YMCA by Village People.
So I watch a lot of old stuff, and like for example, lately Lindsay and I have been on like a Western kick, and so we've been watching a lot of Westerns. And
yeah, Westerns are great.
Yeah,
like they have a sort of a soulfulness to them. They have a soulfulness to them that's really very evocative. I went through a Western phase where I was watching all bunches of Westerns like 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, the old film is great to watch, you know. And one thing I like about old film is it has a sensitivity to the relationship between the genders that you just do not see today.
Kaylee also says, fun fact, the French Foreign Legion are the only branch of the French military that swears allegiance directly to France instead of the president.
Next one. Go on, Dave.
Oh, wait.
Sorry.
Oh, you're still not well. Okay.
And now that they know that you have the hiccups, they're not going to let you out of it.
AA, quote, I have a working theory that whenever Bond has cause to go to the Far East, it's generally a bad film. Are you saying You Only Live Twice is a bad Bond film? Really?
Yes. I think it's the worst Connery. I think You Only Live Twice is easily the worst Connery. That's the one where he disguises himself as a Japanese guy and gets married. It's generally not very good, in my view. I've been watching through the Bonds in order, and I recently hit The Man with the Golden Gun, and I genuinely felt sorry for Christopher Lee appearing in such dross. I mean, it's such a bad film. It's unreal. Has anyone seen Man with the Golden Gun recently? It's F tier. It really is terrible.
I've only ever seen like 2 or 3 Bond films. You know, not my sort of thing. Seems very, very Ruber-like of you to go through the Bond films.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We what happened is that me and Mrs. AA caught Dr. No on once, and I'd never seen it. And in fact, I realized that I'd only ever really seen about 2 Bond films that were just endlessly repeated. And it was one of the Roger Moore ones with Jaws in it. And so, and Octopussy. So we thought, all right, well, let's work through them in order. So I ended up getting the box set, and we've been doing them in order and kind of getting into them a bit more. There are some genuinely good films. Like I cried during On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
You cried You cried?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right?
He's a sensitive man.
But listen, right? Everybody rags on the George Lazenby Bond.
George Lazenby was the best Bond.
That is the best Bond film. I don't know if he's the best Bond, but that is the best. The On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a phenomenal film in its own right. Goldfinger is S tier. And The Spy Who Loved Me is S tier so far of the ones I've watched. But there are also some real bad ones. A Man with a Golden Gun is just embarrassingly, appallingly bad in parts. There's one scene that is so surreal that it's almost like kind of avant-garde art. That in fact, you should watch. You know, you do those little private viewings sometimes with some of your young boys. You should stick in. You should stick in The Man with the Golden Gun, right? Because there's a scene where Bond faces off against two sumo wrestlers, and there's a midget with like a devil fork that comes out. It's just so strange. It's like, what is going on? You know? Yeah. And there's also like interesting racial stereotypes in the film. One of the worst acting performances ever from, what's her name? She was in The Wicker Man as well. Britt Eklund, who was appalling. And there's a terrible, terrible kind of Southern sheriff character from Louisiana called J.W. Pepper, who is just so happens to be on his holidays in China, as if a Louisiana sheriff would go to China. But, you know, there he is on his holidays, and he gets shoehorned in. Anyway, The Man with the Golden Gun is appalling, even though Christopher Lee is quite good in it. All right, let's carry on.
Bitch doesn't. There's no way. I mean, it knows the difference between a sidewalk and the street. It knows. Trust me.
Don't start putting this FUD into you FUD bitch. Don't start putting this FUD into people's minds.
It is in Vegas,
Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD.
FUD.
You FUD
is that a
ruckers.
New, new thing?
Fucking FUDmeisters. You FUD pricks fudding all the time. FUD. These fucking worthless Bitcoin FUDs.
Fudding fudders.
Not one
Mutter
fact to share
fudders.
between them. Just so jealous. So jealous about all the money everybody's raking in with Bitcoin. Buying 2 rakes, Edward rake hands, to rake all the fucking money I'm making in Bitcoin, and everyone's making money in Bitcoin. Raking it in. One hedge fund bank after another. Oh boy, guess I better buy some Bitcoin. Yeah, where are you gonna go to buy it?
Yeah.
You FUD bitch. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking God, these FUD pricks.
So there's 21. How many Bitcoins are there total?
There will only ever be 21 million.
21 million. That's what I thought.
It.
Yeah.
That's it. One FUD after another. Well, I mean, there's no utility here. Really?
And how many are left to mine?
There's no fucking utility. The government doesn't control it. How about that for a fucking utility?
Yeah.
How about what's the one thing I want most in a currency? Well, the government doesn't just print an infinite amount. Boy, do I have news for you. How can you believe so much in the people who control you? Oh, well, yeah, there's no utility here. Okay, utility number 1. You can't print a fucking infinite amount of it. How about that shit?
Yeah.
Put that in your fucking FUD and smoke it, you FUD bitch. Fuck you.
And they said this would be a hangover episode.
Well, it's deflationary. There's only so much of it. Oh, yeah, like land. I know land is just a notoriously bad investment to make, right? Stupid me. I bought all this fucking thing that that God's not making any more of. Land. Where'd you buy it? Does it matter?
Right.
Does it matter? Because there's not gonna be any more of it. Does it fucking matter, you stupid FUD bitch? You fucking FUD idiot? Fuck you!
Who are you yelling at?
It has no
Who's her?
everybody. Fucking everybody. It has no utility. Oh, I know. All I have to do, I got all this land, right? I just fold it up, put it in a FedEx envelope, and send $1 billion worth of it to the other side of the planet. How's that? Oh, I can't? I can't fold up all this land? I can't take a bunch of gold and shoot it with a shrink ray and send it into outer space? Well, I can with Bitcoin, you fucking FUD moron! You stupid fuck! Okay. So aggravating.
See you next week.
So aggravating. Not for real. I have a dog now. I'm supposed to be calm. Woo!
M from Bond. Q was his weapon design. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
M from Bond. It's been a while since
But
I've
they
seen
have
Bond.
don't they have a new female Q? I thought that's what you were referencing.
No, I was talking about M.
Okay.
Yeah, they're right. I was talking about M, not Q.
She does look like M though.
Right. She seems like she could be an M, like a proper British.
Yeah.
I've never heard her speak.
Like
I'm assuming it would be South African accent.
Margaret
but...
Thatcher version of James Bond kind of thing. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I don't know what young Margaret Thatcher looks like, but
rockin'.
What? Yeah, was she? Heyo, somebody. All right, young Margaret Thatcher.
It's a French name. For Callum Swearjar, yeah, we're gonna really have to do something like that. And also, thank you for streaming with us from Thomas. Difficult name. Was that Polish? Like, there's two Z's in there. Other than that, I suppose I should do the impression. So, hello, save me from the cops. The cops outside. Oh, these lovely boys take pickle treats. Wog. We've got to head off, so we will be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're gonna head off, but thank you for watching. Bye bye.
You know, just because they say these things doesn't mean they're necessarily going to come for you everywhere. And I think that's really the goal, is figure out how to live as a diaspora for perhaps centuries, you know. I mean, that's fine. I think people need to realize that you have to rank order survival at this point above all other concerns.
So the second letter that I mentioned has been published. So this is France 24 reporting on it. So anger in France over civil war warning. So this is the second one. The government of French President Emmanuel Macron reacted with fury on Monday after a group of serving French soldiers published an open letter warning that civil war was brewing.
Oh, he's angry. Oh, so, he's annoyed. Macron's annoyed.
The French, like, serving members of the military have signed this.
Yeah, Macron he reacted with fury. Oh, Macron's he's angry about it, is he? Oh, that's rich.
I do want to roll you back, though, because back at the beginning of that was there is no us, right?
Right.
And I think there is an us. And I think the us goes something along these lines. If you and I are neighbors, are we going to get along well enough that we're not shooting at each other?
Yeah. So, yes.
If you and I are neighbors, are we going to get along well enough that we're not crapping on each other's lawns? You know, because presumably we're not directly going to violence or something. I don't know, egging each other's houses, right?
Yeah, of course.
And that's the us, right? This is, when I say we agree on 90% of stuff, probably 50% of that comes down to that we can get along with each other without becoming the left to each other. So, you know, if, I don't know, presumably we live, for the sake of discussion, within the same city, there is a decent likelihood that we get along well enough that maybe we effectively never interact, and yet if you were like, hey man, I'm having a barbecue, I would show up, right? This very basic human level of capability to get along without destroying each other. And the other coin flip, the other side of that coin is everything that encompasses the idea, I don't want to live in clown world, right? Though personally, I despise leftists with every fiber of my being, and the various, you know, again, call them whatever you want. I see chat, the globalists, the communists, whatever your favorite term is, I don't care. You know, these people, I despise them, and yet, if one lived at the end of my block and just shut his goddamn mouth, I don't think I'd care, right? If there wasn't a gay pride parade in his front yard, I wouldn't care. It would be otherwise irrelevant. So, you know, if you want to sit in your house and draw hammers and sickles, I don't give a shit. The problem is those people never want to stop there, right? They always need to destroy what's around them. And so that is the line, in my opinion, right? These are the people that you can live with.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense to me. And what I hear there is just you want to be able to, you know, voluntarily associate with whoever you want, and not simply be arbitrary, not be subject to the, you know, arbitrary force of whoever your neighbor happens to be, as long as they're not, you know, causing problems in your community. So, I want to address the local, especially local sheriff thing, but I'm curious. I don't exactly know what Pleb Ranch is, or what's been. I know that's a matter of controversy. I think it's some sort of homestead, but I actually don't really know what exactly you're up to.
So basically, a homestead is not unreasonable, except I'm going to go build a little town, effectively. And so as, I don't really care what you do as long as you do something productive, right? There will be no welfare in my little town, but I'm going to go buy a very large quantity of property and vet the people who move there so that we can go live fairly, let's say, parallel to the rest of society. And that there will be some things that we do that, engage with the rest of society. But to some degree or another, we will focus more on supporting ourselves and each other than we are, mostly because the simple reality is when you're starting from literally nothing, that's where you have to start. No one is showing up with $25 million to build a Chevy plant. That's not happening. But the general premises of live outside of the regular lines of society. This is one of the reasons that the sheriff thing is particularly relevant to me, because if we move, and again, I'm making up numbers, if we move to a county with 500 people in it, which most of the places that everybody is, we're looking at this, is not an unreasonable number, and we move 1,000 people there, voting in the sheriff is quite literally just all of us going down and going, it's Bob, right? And so the investment here is quite literally 1 day per election cycle where we just go down and go, look, we really don't care what you think. It's that guy, right? And so presumably that guy is not turning on us because we are the sole arbiters of whether or not he keeps his job.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it could be described as a town, but I guess the interesting thing here is I think all of that is actually a good idea, and the only problem I see with it is that everyone knows about it, right? Because
Indeed, you're not wrong. That is a problem. There's a reason I have not posted an address or anything, and to be fair, part of that reason is there's simply no money to do it. But the point of this is whenever it is that like a real thing happens, it will probably not be just inherently public information for ideally some period of time.
That's good, and I think, ideally, if no one, I think this is actually a good idea, and if it could be executed in a way where it wasn't even public, it would be a really good idea to do this, because I see this sort of thing as the foundation of the parallel economy I'm talking about, and you'd want to build all of this in parallel. Obviously, we need our own communities, literally, right? Literally communities.
So part of the reason I say it will be not public information, at least for a while, is that I am very well aware that things like doxing exist, very well aware that, if I continue the show, and I probably will to some degree or another, someone will start trying to figure out where I am because reasons. And at some point or another, a FedEx driver will deliver something. And so there is just simply not a way in perpetuity to make sure nobody finds out where it is. I don't know that I will ever be a big fan of just posting it on Facebook or any nonsense like that, but there's a limitation on how much you can keep things secret.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about town-sized, right?
Indeed.
So I would say if you're going to attempt a project that large, it absolutely makes sense to try and do it somewhere where the local sheriff is the person you want it to be, and B, try to ensure that the sheriff stays the person you want it to be, right?
Right.
I think this is a very niche case, though, because not everyone's making towns, right?
No, but there are, and this is another thing, right? Is that there's some assumption that I want every sheriff's seat in America outside of L.A. and New York, and I don't, right? If the simple reality is another thing that was popularly discussed while talking about Pleb Ranch things was, well, what if we all just go to a place that has falling property values because it's in kind of a crappy area, and we just move 200 families in there, right? And at that point, that sheriff matters, right? That particular sheriff matters. The next county over doesn't really matter. Who gives a shit? And in this sense, your engagement with politics should be targeted, right? Would I love to have the power to just choose who the next president is? Yeah, sure, that'd be great. If I had the power to choose who the next president was, I don't think we'd be in the position we are. But there is no particularly good reason that what we should do is stay living in, there's some people who watch the channel who live in Detroit. And I'm like, bro, I get that your job's there, but move.
Our side or whatever saying that you guys want to participate in politics and whatnot, which I think you do to some extent, and I think we've disagreed on that. But I think the big part of your whole operation and your group's operation is more in line with this homesteading concept, which I think in principle is actually the correct concept. It is the parallelist concept. It is actually the base of the entrepreneurship I'm talking about. We just disagree on the timing, essentially. That's something I really wanted to get into.
Yeah, well, look, by raw nature of what this is, it's going to take me literal years, right? If every single thing in the world goes right around the time that we re-elect the next president, I will probably be property shopping. Or we elect the next president. I will be property shopping. So 2024-ish, I'll be looking. And that's just constraints of reality at the moment. And that is sort of being generous to myself. And by that point, make no mistake, I will not have tens of millions of dollars to build a city from literally nothing. It will still be a large quantity of acreage with 6 buildings on it. I'm going kind of big there, right? But, you need a place to put stuff to build houses that is out of the weather. So count a barn among those 6 buildings, right? It's not going to be next year suddenly there's 75 houses in the middle of, I don't know, West Virginia hills, because that's a popular place to pick, or anything like that. It will simply take time. And during that time, a lot of this falling apart is going to happen. But I think the other argument that we generally get into is that I look at politics more like a battlefield, right? So if the simple reality here is through any number of methods, we get to a place where the state will overtly defend us, and by the state, I mean a physical state, right? So, I don't know, Wyoming, right, or Virginia, West Virginia in the earlier discussion. Then that is a group of people who go hold off what is likely to become the Red Army marching around the country, causing problems for everybody, because I see that as a very realistic possibility. And if you're in West Virginia and they just go, well, look, even if they don't agree with me on everything or even the majority of things, if all they do is go, you're stopping the Red Army at the border, that's it, then I have won, right? That's victory condition for me.
In this article, they say, he's surrounded himself with fascist imagery, and to kind of provide the evidence for that, he wrapped himself in the Union Jack, which...
fascist imagery. I mean, the country that defeated fascism.
This is just typical Guardian stuff, really. And he said Sadiq Khan cannot talk properly. And he said even Tesco wouldn't employ Diane Abbott.
I mean, true.
Didn't she come into Parliament with 2 shoes that weren't matching? Got numbers wrong.
I think she went to the polling booth and she took pictures with supporters. I mean, all 3 of them, and she was wearing 2 shoes that were different, and also both of them were left-footed or something. It's like, what?
So left wing, she's got 2 left feet.